Well, this is an exciting time. We are here in the Locino model at Playa Pacifica, one of the next homes to be finished. It's kind of officially finished while they're building the pergola outdoors, and we have to hang up the paintings and things like that. But it's very cool. It's all the solar systems all been installed. Everything's working. This home is really cool. This is our most advanced renter's home, I would say, at this point. Even the refrigerator we can control remotely. And why that's important, like we get, I don't like to over-exaggerate, I want to be conservative, but we're at Playa Pacifica in Nicaragua, and our rentals tend to get about 14% ROI. We can send you ROI sheets if you're interested, and it has all the details on there. But I think what, is very cool about the reason we get a little bit more than others, even in the same area, is we control everything remotely. And it's, you might think that's a little bit Big Brother-ish, but it saves you some money.
You don't have cameras watching.
We don't have any cameras, but...
it's good for rentals.
Yeah, because we control the air conditioners. For instance, if, people set lots of renters don't care, right? They're paying for a week and they just turn everything down to 16 Celsius or whatever, 60 degrees Fahrenheit.
Or leave it all day long.
Yeah, go to the beach and just leave it on. Well, we can control that by setting it to say, no, you don't need it. It doesn't get there any faster, right? So it can control it, set it to a nice, comfortable temperature of 71 Fahrenheit or something, or 21 Celsius, and then it controls that. And then also, more importantly, is when they check out, before the cleaners have come and everybody's come to see it, we can make sure the air conditioners are turned off because, A, power is expensive down here. But, the good news is we have a solar system in this home, and it's running the air conditioner. This home particularly right now, it's Locino number 4 at Playa Pacifica. It's currently 100% off-grid, so air conditioning's running. We actually have the other cool thing, why I said this one's the most advanced, is the first time we've had a Wi-Fi controlled refrigerator, because renters do that too. They come in and go, oh, I'm just going to set it all to the maximum cold, even though it really doesn't need to be, and it just uses more power. So as an owner, you're together with us as the rental company, you're paying for electricity, right? So the less
it's a hybrid home. You have solar and electrical power.
If it's solely 100% solar, I guess you don't really have to worry about it, but then you have to worry about, killing the battery if they're really abusive.
And people start complaining because what happened? I lost light in the middle of the night, right?
So we're building the solar systems big enough so that doesn't happen, but we also have grid connected systems here as well, which means that when it does flip over to the grid, you're paying for that power. So anyway, all these little features are very cool. They're included in our, in our remote systems for these homes. And the homes needs a little bit of furniture right now. It's a little echoey in here because we haven't got paintings on the wall, but
the dining room was still waiting for them. It's coming in 2 weeks.
Yeah, the dining table and stuff like that. So, so the furniture is on its way, but the home is physically done, and it's very, very exciting. We're really happy because it's super quality built. It's concrete and steel.
And it doesn't feel like a tiny home.
No,
it feels like really nice. Like this is the living room, has a lot of space. The same with the kitchen. It's a kitchen that you will enjoy cooking there, and you can see the ocean from the windows.
Yeah, we're just steps away from the ocean. We'll show some shots of that in a minute. But it's under 600 square feet, so under 60 square meters, but you've got this large vaulted ceiling in the living room, and the dining room is open.
Yeah, it's a high ceiling, it's true. That also makes it feel bigger.
2 bedrooms, which is very rare for tiny homes, and the master bedroom has a king size, like the California king size bed.
Yeah.
And then the second bedroom, the guest bedroom, has a double bed. And this couch we're sitting on is also a hide-a-bed, so you can pull that out.
So many people can stay here.
So technically 5 or 6 people could stay.
Yeah.
And they're literally a stone's throw from the beach. The pool will be here on that side very soon. There is a pool.
The restaurant too.
The restaurant pool there is just less than a minute walk away from here. It's really ideal location, Playa Pacifica, because it's the best beachfront in the whole resort. And there's 4 miles of beach, so it's saying something to be in the best area. This is where many years ago, almost 20 years ago, I would go swimming. So it's kind of fun for me to see the homes coming up here now. And this is the Locino model, like I mentioned, but we also have the Andalusian and the Pasofino, which are much bigger homes. The Andalusian is 3-bedroom, all the bedrooms facing the ocean and right on the edge of the ocean. Like literally you can walk and step out onto the sand. So it's quite an amazing place here and affordable. Right now, this Locino is $169,000. So if you're interested in something like that, Nicaragua is getting more and more popular. It really got very popular during COVID. I've mentioned that before in many podcasts or webinars, but Nicaragua was pretty much the only country in the world. Well, Sweden started that way, but then Sweden gave up. But Nicaragua stuck to their guns, and they didn't close down. Like, they didn't shut down the economy. They didn't lock people down at home. They didn't require masks. They didn't require vaccines inside the country. So it was pretty much normal life. And I was really glad to be a Nicaraguan resident during that time, because it was a sanctuary place to go. So when we talk about Plan Bs, and you talk about Honduras and Belize and Panama, and we love our communities there, but in terms of the most free one so far, it's actually been Nicaragua. So.
Yeah, and also after COVID, that happened, and then also the things that are going on in the first world, that you see a lot of culture wars right now that is happening. That because it's a worldwide agenda. But the thing is that in Latin America in general, and Nicaragua also, they're very traditional. They have traditional values. So that is something that also has become very appealing for the people that are coming. Before, it was more North Americans that would come here to surf because of the weather or paying lower taxes, like when you came from Canada. But then we're getting people from Europe, from Australia, New Zealand, that they're saying like they are not only taking away our freedoms, but also they are changing the culture in our countries. They are attacking the family values. The government is deciding how to educate our children. So those are things that even there's groups that in Latin America want to put that, because unfortunately what happens in the first world, the third world countries sometimes want to imitate. The majority doesn't like that. The majority still want to stick to their family values, still want to protect their children, still want to be the parents want to be the ones who take care and educate them, and they don't want the state, the government to control how they want to take care of their families. Yeah. So that's one thing that also, we have a lot of people in the first world countries that have those same values, right? And say, no, I don't want this for my children. So they are coming to Latin America. That's another reason now.
Yeah, and I mean, it was just very, apt that you're talking about this, because it was yesterday or the day before, someone here looking at buying a home at Playa Pacifica on the beach. They have children, and they're saying that well, we all know in North America and Europe, it's a very woke education. And if you don't want your children to be subjected to that, this is an amazing place, because like you said, Latin America in general is just always put family first over career, and family first over the nonsense of having drag queens and transgender shows at school or something like that. I don't care if it's controversial. That's ridiculous. And so it is what it is. But a lot of people are realizing it doesn't matter who's in power, like whether Trump gets in or Biden or some Biden replacement gets in the next election, or in Canada, whether it's Trudeau or Poilievre or whoever. The momentum is not at the government level. The momentum is at the school level. And the generation that's in their early 20s and younger is just getting a woke education that's going to kill those countries. And it's just sad. So a lot of people who kind of realize that, and thankfully they're realizing while their kids are young.
Because they see the example of what's going on in the first world, right? Because they are like the guinea pigs, right? And we are seeing that, and people here are realizing, the parents, the families, everybody's saying, no, we don't want that for our children. So you can see there are marches here that are like, don't mess with our children. When they start messing with the children is when people say, stop, this is not okay. So they push back. Yeah,
I wish, the Canadians would have done that. Now we have a woke generation. So that it's almost refreshing. I was saying to Andrea the other day in our office with people in that age group, teenagers, 20-something-year-old to 30-something-year-old, thinking totally different because they were raised in a different culture. Like, there's not all, this, DEI stuff with, that everybody in the office has to be a perfect mix of the different races and different genders and different everything. We all are who we are, and we're there for merit. If you're good at your job, you're going to get a job with us. And I don't really care what race or gender you are, or what we're not including. But it's so refreshing to talk with our employees versus a Californian 23-year-old or something, because we just get normal people. Like I said, I'm not trying to relegate 23-year-old Californians out of our communities, but the reality is, I think anybody that knows what I'm saying knows, right? It's just, that's the cultural difference. And I'm looking forward to places like here at Playa Pacifica. They have great schools in Nicaragua. They have an American school and German schools, and they're all top notch, and they're all accredited to, your kids can go there and then go to Yale or Harvard or wherever they want. Although, again, those universities are pretty woke by now. I wouldn't send anybody there. But
yes,
but it's the same like in Panama. The people are moving down for the education of their kids in a lot of cases,
yeah.
and
the things that made the Western world great, we share that. Even if it's third world or first world, we share that. And if a North American or European come here, we have our differences. Like you and I, we got married and we have our differences, but you can take the best from both sides. Like I like the work ethic that comes from the United States or Germany, or that's something that is good to bring here, and the family values and those things, and how important friends are, and to be able to call your parents every day, or at least every week, right? Not disappear and just see them for Thanksgiving or Christmas, right? All those things are good also that it's something that I think that people from the first world also appreciate, right? Which I think that would make our countries get better. And we have realized many things that have happened, because many of these countries have been very, they have been thought to be victims of whatever, right? Of what had happened in
oppression or something.
Yeah, hundreds of years ago.
God forbid Christopher Columbus actually made this place worthwhile.
But people have woken up and say that this is just something that they have put in our heads, and it's not really what is going to help us progress. And we have to be responsible for our life and our actions, and to work hard, work together. And we are not going to think that anybody else is the reason why we can't be progress and be better. So I think that is another thing that even the Latin American countries are realizing, and that is what is making people from other countries come here. Because we're seeing that even in the governments are changing, right? Nayib Bukele, Milei, Noboa in Ecuador.
And Europe go socialist. These countries down here are becoming very capitalist.
Yeah.
And
seeing how important it is to work.
I think Milei is awesome, because I also consider myself libertarian, and small government and small corp, don't get relying on big pharma, big corporations and that. And these guys seem to have gotten it when, like you said, they're watching the calamity that's going on in North America and Australia and New Zealand, Europe, all these countries that everybody down here just idolized in the past. And now they don't want to be anything like that, because I guess that's the good news about the internet. You can see what's going on anywhere in the world, and you can go, there's just so much more immigration to these, Central American, South American, Latin American countries, because people can start seeing that, hey, it's not what we've been told in the newspapers and stuff like that. It's actually a great place to live, and great place to have a family, great place to retire, whatever stage of life you're in, because it's just a live and let live kind of thing. Now, you mentioned the work ethic. That's the one thing that I think is always going to be the most frustrating thing for people coming from, European or North American background.
Everything's slower here.
And that's also the charm of it, right? Everything is slower here.
But it can be frustrating,
It is frustrating, even for me after a couple decades of being here. But, I do recognize, I have my theory on it, right? I don't think it's, like if I tell people, things are slower here, you got to have patience. You're going to go into a store and it's going to take you half an hour longer to buy something than you thought it should. And you're just going to have to kind of learn to roll with that and then laugh at it. But I've also got this theory that it's not about race or anything like that. It's about location. The closer you are to the equatorial regions, the equator, the more you didn't have to stockpile food, right? Because we have Veritas, for instance, year-round growing of any kind of food we want.
And that is
livestock,
another reason why people come here, because we have an amazing weather, an amazing soil that you can be self-sustainable.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
sun all year long.
But like, you know, we have employees that are from Norway and my background from Germany and that sort of thing. They learned, the culture is very deeply learned that they had to create all, especially if you, for a farmer like my parents were in Canada, you had like 4 months to create all the food you needed for 12 months.
That
and
for
then you
me
had
is
to suffer
incredible
through
that
8
you
of
guys
them.
were able to be alive during those.
Yeah, and when I was young, I just thought that's what everybody did, right? You had the, you know, you had the big garden and in your pantry. We had an underground pantry where you just canned everything and put it down there, and you know, had a cattle, so you'd have a side of beef to last you for a while. And that's all. I just thought we collected rainwater from the eaves troughs on a roof into a cistern in the basement. And there was no connection to anything, right? It was just your typical prairie farm life, and you know, 40 decades ago.
Who would have thought that for you that would be a way that you would, something that you will learn and use now to make this type of communities in Latin America?
Yeah, well, you know, the beauty of being down here is it's so much easier because I just said, like, you can grow things all year round, whereas, you know, my family had to, you know, do all that storage and things. So I think that's part of where that work ethic comes from too, is that when you were taught that you had to really, really get, you know, make hay while the sun shines.
Survive,
right?
Yes.
It's a little different upbringing than it is when it's like, well, tomorrow I can go catch a fish and eat a banana. I'll be all right.
Yeah,
you know,
it's easy. Yeah.
And so that's, you know, it's different cultural things for different reasons. But, you know, I think that sometimes the European and North American, Australian world is frankly a little pompous about their lives and their lifestyles and their freedoms. You don't have freedoms anymore. You're losing them. And I think most people are starting to realize that. The freedom...
You cannot even give a nickname to anybody anymore. Like, we give nicknames to everybody here.
We're not getting started on the nickname.
Political correctness,
stories. Yeah, the whole political correctness thing is another thing that doesn't really work down here, because the families joke around, you know, you pick your weakness on this, you know, your brother has big ears, well, now he's jumbo or whatever. So it's like...
But mostly, like, the thing is that you have freedom of speech here. Like, you don't have... You're not going to get a bill that is going to tell you how to speak to somebody, because if you don't say what they believe that it should be, you're going to go to prison or you're going to get a
fine or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, the concept of telling me how I have to refer to somebody's gender or whatever, what's the word, the pronouns?
The pronouns and things like that.
It's another ridiculous thing. I mean, a country that has any ability to spend its time on that is wasting time. But that doesn't happen down here. You don't see somebody's Instagram account in Nicaragua that says, you know, their pronouns are they and them or something. It's just not it's a mockery. So that...
So in how do you say, briefly, in summary, those are some of the reasons why people are coming to Latin America and why Playa Pacifica is a great place to live.
I got a little off track, but we have these conversations a lot. So that's just you're hearing us talk about what we think. Yeah. But the reality is, those are some of the reasons why it is great to be, you know, there's many reasons, but this is a great place to live, and it's a great place to rent because it's a popular place to go. We got some of the best surf beaches in the world out here. You get a lot of people. This time of year is starting to crank up again. It's kind of nice because you have another second tourist season, because kids are getting out of school in North America and Europe, and their parents are surfers, and they take them, and the kids are learning how to surf. And then we have both of the surf breaks. The Asachio one is a sand break, and it's really friendly for beginners and kids. And then there's the one called the Meat Grinders, which, as you can hear by the name, is not so friendly. It's more for professionals. It's a reef break, but it's something for everything. And fishing is great, and it's just a lot. You know, the golf course here is beautiful. Tennis and little volleyball, soccer courses, frisbee golf, all sorts of things. Hiking trails, biking trails, lots of things in the area. Great restaurants and just whatever you want to be here. But that's also a reason why guests want to be here if they're looking at renting. And we get a steady stream of guests. And you know, this home is going to go into the rental pool next week, and it'll do very well. To imagine have a 2-bedroom tiny home right on the beach you're not in an apartment, so you're not surrounded by other people's noise or anything. You have your own yard.
Yeah, and
another garden.
Yeah, and that's another pro, that your tiny home is not on wheels. You can have a tiny home in your own lot, because the price includes the lot and the house. So you would have your land. Right now we're doing the landscaping around the tiny home. So you would have we're putting different fruit trees, papaya. We're putting lemon, orange, palm trees. So you can have your own little orchard around your house.
Yeah, this home we're sitting in right now will have a couple dozen fruit trees around it, and they grow so fast here that next year at this time we'll be picking oranges and mangoes and bananas and everything here. So it's almost a little bit self-sustaining in itself because of just the location here. But yeah. So anyway, wanted to talk to a little bit unusual kind of podcast, but wanted to tell you a little bit about what we're doing. Still got to hear us complain about politics a little bit. And the woke world.
But I introduced him to politics, by the way.
Sometime around COVID, I hadn't realized how crazy the world was yet, so I was a slow learner.
Well, like Latin America, you have to know politics because we've had so many terrible governments through the years. I think that we're learning our lesson now.
It's an amazing shift. I've seen books written on it now, where the shift from the freedoms of the North and the Western world has shifted to here now. And those are becoming kind of WEF monitored states. So anyway, that's our 2 cents for today. Thanks for joining. I hope you'll come down. If nothing else, come down to this part of the world and check it out for yourself. It's very safe. Nicaragua that we're in right now is one of the top 3 safest countries in Central America right now.
We can help you also if you want to come visit and see the community. We help you. You can send us an email. We're going to put the email on the comments down there, and we can give you help you with the accommodations, the transportation. You can stay in one of the tiny homes, and we would love to hear what you think about the country. If you know anything about Nicaragua, your comments about the politics too, if you agree or disagree, and about the community, any questions that you have, we would love. And if you want to also keep seeing videos of ours, please like and subscribe, and you would get all the updates.
Yeah, so I look forward to seeing you down. Like as Andrea said, we'll help you. We have a shuttle bus, we have the accommodations, we have everything. We just want to show people this part of the world, because sometimes it's a little daunting if you haven't been down here before and I don't know where to start. I don't know who to contact. Who can I trust? We've been doing this for a long time. You can trust us. Like I said, Nicaragua, these countries are safer than almost anywhere in the U.S. So you're going from a less safe place to a more safe place. And the people are super friendly. There's volcanoes and all sorts of very cool things to see. So it's definitely worth a family vacation to check it out.
And we live here too. So it's a place we love. So we're not going to tell you to come to a place that we're not even investing in. We have a home here as well. So
yeah. Well, thanks, Andrea.
Thank
you for being on the podcast.
Thanks
everybody for watching.
Bye-bye. See you soon.